Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome to our video of presentation. So today we are going to talking about qualitative inquiry and research design choosing among 5 approaches by John Creswell. But first of all, let us introduce our team, ourselves. My name is Lukman Hakim, my present number is 18.
Hello everyone, my name is Farhan Nurikhsan and my present number is 9.
Hello, my name is Khairunnisa Rosdiani and my present number is 6.
Hi, I'm Nadiah Wiharnis.
My name is Lea Alexander. First, framework for philosophy, paradigm, and interpretation. In qualitative research choices, researchers make certain assumptions. These philosophical assumptions consist of attitudes toward the nature of reality or ontology, how the researcher knows what he knows or epistemology, the role of values in research or axiology, the language of research or rhetoric, and the methods used in the process or methodology. The ontological problem is related to the nature of reality and its characteristics. When researchers conduct qualitative research, they embrace ideas about various realities. With epistemological assumptions, conducting qualitative studies means that researchers try to be as close as possible to the participants studied. All researchers bring values into a study, but qualitative researchers like to make those values explicit. This is called axiological assumption. Qualitative researchers tend to adopt the rhetorical assumption that writing must be personal and literary. Qualitative research procedures or methodologies are marked as inductive, emerge and are shaped by the researcher's experience in collecting and analyzing data. Next, paradigm or worldview. There are 4 paradigms. First, post-positivism. This approach has a reductionistic, logical, emphasis on empirical data collection, cause-effect oriented, and deterministic based on a prior theory. Second, constructivism. According to this paradigm, individuals seek an understanding of the world in which they live and work. They develop subjective meanings from experiences directed at certain objects or objects. Third, advocacy or participatory is an alternative paradigm because the post-positivist arena imposes structural laws and theories that are not appropriate to marginalized individuals or groups, and constructivists do not go far enough in advocating for action to help individuals. And the last is pragmatism. The flow of pragmatism is not tied to a particular philosophical or reality system. Pragmatism focuses on research problems and uses all forms of approach to understand those problems. Next, characteristics of qualitative research. There are 9 characteristics of qualitative research. First, natural setting. Qualitative researchers tend to collect data in the field in locations where participants experience the problem or problem under study. Second, the researchers as key instruments. Qualitative researchers collect their own data through examining documents, observing behavior, and interviewing participants. Third, various data sources. Qualitative researchers usually collect various forms of data such as interviews, observations, and documents, rather than relying on a single data source. Fourth, inductive data analysis. Qualitative researchers build their patterns, categories, and time from bottom up by organizing data into increasingly abstract units of information. 5. Meaning of participant. Researchers remain focused on learning the meaning that the participants have about a problem or problem, not the meaning that the researcher brings to the research or writer from the literature. 6. Emerging designs. The research process for qualitative researchers emerge. This means that the initial plans for research cannot be determined strictly, and that all phases of the process can change or shift after the researchers enter the field and start collecting data. 7. Theoretical lens. Qualitative researchers often use lenses to look at their studies, such as cultural concept, ethnographic centers, or gender, race or class differences from a theoretical orientation. 8. Interpretative questions. Qualitative research is a form of inquiry in which researchers make interpretations of what they see, hear, or understand. 9. Holistic account. Qualitative researchers try to develop a complex picture of the problem or problem under study.
I'm going to tell you about my brief presentation about the general structure of a plenary proposal. So basically there are two kinds, constructivist research format and then a qualitative research format for advocacy. So they both have an introduction and a procedure which is about the same. In introduction, they will include it by statement of the problem, including literature on the problem, research purpose, research question, and then limits and limits. The procedure will be included by qualitative research characteristic, qualitative research strategies, the role of researchers, data collection procedures, data analysis procedures, strategy for validating findings, narrative structure, anticipated ethical issues, the importance of research, preliminary findings, expected results, and then appendix, interview question, observation forms, timelines, and proposal budget. And then we're going to talk about the narrative research. So if you're going to conduct narrative research, you have to follow some of the procedure. In here, there are 5 procedures that you need to follow. The first one is determine the research problems or the best question that is appropriate for narrative research. The second one, select one or more individuals to tell the stories of their experienced life. The third one, gather stories about the context of the stories. Fourth one, analyze the participation's story and then restore or retell their story into a frame that makes sense. The last one, collaborate with participation through their active involvement research. The last thing is phenomenological research. There are 6 procedures. The first one, researchers ascertain that whether the formulation of the problem made is relevant to be examined using the phenomenological approach. The second one, in compiling research problem, research capture the phenomenon to be questioned its meaning for a group or individuals who experience it. Third, the researcher as a human being must live his personal experience as far as possible related to the focus of his research. The fourth one, phenomenological data in the form of descriptive narratives were collected by stories of individuals who experienced a phenomenon under study. The next procedure is the process of data analysis, in principle similar to other qualitative analyses. The last procedures is each theme that appears in the analysis process contains verbatim narratives. Broadly speaking, a textual description of what is experienced by participants and how they experience it. From the textual description, the researchers describes the universal essence of the phenomenon under study. Typical intellectual descriptions compiled in phenomenological research are composed of long and deep paragraphs.
Alright, so now we are going to talking about ground theory research. Procedure for conducting ground theory research. Research needs to start by determining whether grounded theory is best suited for studying the research problem. Ground theory is a good design to use when the theory is not available to explain a process. Research questions asked by participants will focus on understanding who individual experience the process and identify the step in the process. These questions are usually asked in the interview, although other forms of data can also be collected, such as observation, documents, and audiovisual material. Data analysis takes place gradually in open coding, research from category of information about the phenomena being studied by sharing information, and actual coding. At this stage, relationships are identified between categories and connections are identified. Selective coding, this involves identifying core categories and systematically linking them with other categories, and relationship must be authentic and categories refined. Finally, research can develop and visually describe a condition metric that explain the social, historical, and economic condition that affects the central phenomena. So the result of grounded theory research of this data collective and analysis process are theories, substantive level theories written by research who is close to a particular problem or population of people. So theory arises with the help of memoing process, a process in each research write ideas about theories and developed throughout the open, actual, and selective coding process. Ethnographic research. Ethnographic research procedure. So in this research, determine whether the research problem is most suitable to be approached with ethnographic studies. As we discussed earlier, ethnographic describe a culture group by exploiting belief, language, and behavior. Release or ethnography, or also criticize issue concerning power, resistance, and dominance. So this research identify and determine the location of the culture group to be studied, and the group should be combination of people who have been categorized for a long time, because where here we will be examine is a pattern of behavior, truth, and belief are shared. And this study choose a culture term or issue that will be learned from a group. This involves analyzing of culture people. And also, the study ethnographic research determine the type of ethnography that is suitable to be used to study the concept of culture. Is the realist ethnography or critical ethnography, and gather information from the field about the life of the group. Data collected can be in the form of observation, measurement, survey, interviews, content analysis, audiovisual, mapping, and network research. After the data is collected, the data is stored and analyzed. So the last one is of course the writing about the overall picture or portrait of the cultural group, both from the perspective of participant and from the point of view of the researcher himself. Okay, next we are going to talking about case study research, which is procedure of conducting case studies. And this study, first the research determines whether the case study approach is consistent with the research problem. A case study is a good approach when the investigator has clearly identified case with boundaries and seek to provide an in-depth understanding of the cases of comparison of several cases. And this research needs to identify their case or case, and these cases can involve an individual, several individual program, even or activities. And for the data collection of this study is usually extensive, using various sources of information such as observation, interviewing, documents, and audiovisual material. This type of data analysis of this case study research can be a holistic analysis of all cases or analysis attached to a certain aspect of the cases. And finally, this research interpretative path to researchers report the meaning of the case, whether the meaning comes from learning about the case problem or instrument case, or learning about unusually situation or instrument case.
Difference of 5 qualitative studies. Narrative studies. Narrative studies are based on to examine the life experience of an individual, and when material is available and accessible and the individual is willing to share the stories. Narrative research aim to explore and conceptualize human experience as it is represented in textual form, aiming for an in-depth exploration of the meaning people assign to their experience. Narrative research work with small sample of participants to obtain rich and free-ranging discourse. The emphasis is on stories experience. Generally, this takes the form of interviewing people around the topic of interest, but it might also involve the analysis of writing document. The second one is phenomenology study. Phenomenology study is to examine the phenomena meaning they have for individual. Be prepared to interview individual-based studies in philosophical principles of phenomenology. Follow established procedure and end with essence of meaning. Phenomenology is an approach to qualitative research that focus on the commonality of lived experience within a particular group. The third one is grounded theory. Grounded theory studies to procedure or develop theories. Gather information through interview and use systematic data collection and analysis procedure such as open, axial, and selective coding. Grounded theory is an inductive methodology that provides systematic guideline for gathering, synthesizing, analyzing, and conceptualizing qualitative data for the purpose of theory construction. Ethnographic studies. Ethnographic studies to study the behavior of cultural or individual sharing group. Be prepared to observe and interview and develop group description and explore themes that emerge from studying human behavior. Case study. Case study to examine case limited by time or place and look for contextual material about setting case. Gather extensive material from various sources of information to provide an in-depth overview of that case. The next material is introduction and focusing study. A good qualitative introduction begin with the identification of a clear problem that need to be studied. Then advance the primary intent of the study, called the purpose of the study. It set the stage for the entire article and convey what the author hopes to accomplish in the study. Of all part of a research project, the purpose statement is the most important. There are few steps to introduction and focusing study. The first one is research problem, intended to provide a reason or need to study a particular problem or why this study is needed. The second one is statement of purpose. Statement of purpose need to be carefully constructed and written in clear and concise language. The third one is research question. There are two in research question. The first one is a central question. Qualitative research questions are open, developing, and indirect. The second one is sub-question. Problem-oriented sub-question are that they take phenomena in central research question and break them into subtopic for examination. The next topic is collecting data. Collecting data. The new form in qualitative data in the literature are grouped into four basic types of information. One is observation, two is interview, third is document, and four is audiovisual material. Observation. Go to challenge with observing mechanisms such as remembering to take file notes, recording citation accurately to be included in file notes. Interview. To challenge the in qualitative interview often focus on the mechanism of conducting interview. audiovisual document and materials. The challenge with this mechanism involves the placement of material, often in remote location, and obtaining permission to use the material. The next material is analysis and representation. 3. Analyze strategies. Data analysis in qualitative research consists of 1. Prepare and cleanse data. 2. Reducing data to time through the coding process and code condensation. 3. Transfer data in numbers, table, or discussion. Spiral data analysis. In the initial stage of analysis process, researchers organize their data into file folder, index card, or computer file. In addition to organizing file, researchers convert their file to several texts. In this spiral, codes or category are the core of qualitative data analysis. Here, the research explain in detail, develop terms or dimension through several classification systems, and provide interpretation based on their own point of view or perspective view in the literature.
Next, it's validation and evaluation standards. Validation perspective. There are 4 types of validation, including triangulation, such as several data sources, methods, and theoretical schemes. Construct validation, such as recognizing existing constructs rather than imposing the theory of construct on informants or context. Dealing with validation, and catalytic validation that encourage participants to know the reality to change it. Perspective on reliability. The focus here on reliability is on the agreement between codes based on the use of several conduct to analyze transcript data. In qualitative research, reliability often refers to the stability of responses to many codes data. What seems to be largely missing in the literature is a discussion of the procedure for actually conducting an intercoder agreement check. Next, it's evaluation criteria or qualitative perspective. The specific criteria of the 5th qualitative approach in evaluating them are: first, they assess a study in terms of whether the research question encourage data collection and analysis and not vice versa. Second, they examine the extent to which data collection and analysis techniques are applied competently in a technical sense. Third, they ask whether the researcher's assumptions were made explicit, such as the subjectivity of the researcher himself. Fourth, they wonder whether this research had an overall guarantee, such as whether it was strong use respective theoretical explanation and discussed unconfirmed theoretical explanations. And the last, research must have values both in informing and improving practice in protecting the confidentiality, privacy, and truth-telling of participants. Now, I would like to explanation about the analysis problem, and we had a case from Jurnal Giantika in year 2019. Head article is pemanfaatan blog pribadi di Instagram sebagai media komunikasi parenting, studi deskriptif kualitatif akun Instagram @anisas. Okay, the first thing I would like to explanation about the designing and qualitative study in the research. The process of designing qualitative study arises during the investigation, but generally follows part of scientific research. It starts with broad assumptions that are central to qualitative research, the establishment of the paradigms, and overall theory and research topic. After starting a research problem or issue on this topic, the questionnaire asks several open research questions, collect several forms of data and answer the question, and the groups the data into codes, them or categories, and later dimensions. Okay, based on the research by Giantika, she identify a problem, namely the utilization of personal blog on Instagram as a parenting communication media on Instagram account @anisas by using data sources by viewing the content of both photo, caption, and comment. Will be examined carefully and truly. Besides that, it uses the technique of collecting data. The comment of the content of the Instagram Anisas account be image listed. The researcher wants to see from the use and process of utilizing personal blog on Instagram as a child care communication medium. Okay, next is grounded theory. Grounded theory is research method that deal with generation theory, which grounded in data has been systematically collected and analyzed. So in here, the grounded theory has a purpose to move beyond description and to produce or discover theories, abstract analytical schemes, or of a process. The research used three theory. It is communication, social media, and parenting. These three things have described the purpose and basic of research to dissect the problem desired by the researcher. Through these three theories, they are already interconnected to explain the use and process of using a personal blog on Instagram as a parenting communication media on Instagram at Anisas. Okay, next is introducing and focusing the study. Qualitative research design began before research chose a qualitative approach started by the research who started the problem or problems that led to the research, formulated the main objective study, and provided research question. In here we had 2 points. The first point is research issues and the second point is statement of purpose. Okay, in the research issues, Giantika has written a problem statement in his journal to find out what one they study. It is about how to use personal blog on Instagram as a parenting communication media Instagram at Anisa's account. Okay, in the statement of purpose, Giantika has a formulated research objective in journal. The objective in his research are 5. First, to find out the utilization of personal blogs on Instagram as a parenting communication media, and the second point is to find out the process utilization of personal blog on Instagram as a parenting communication media. Okay, next is data collection. Preswell visualized data collection as a series of interrelated activities aimed at gathering good information to answer emerging research questions. In here had some points, had 4 points. The first point is place or individual. So Giantika has placed an object for the research in the Instagram account at Anisas, which is engaged in providing information about parenting. The uniqueness of the research conducted by Giantika to find out the use and process of utilizing personal blogs on Instagram as a child care communication media can change in providing knowledge in caring for children from offline to online. Okay, the second point is sampling strategy objective. The type of data will be used in this research had 2 type data. First type is primary data and the second type is secondary data. Okay, in the first type, primary data get by observation and documentation by the image and caption contained in the at Anisa's Instagram account, while secondary data obtained from literature study. So data collection technique use the observation data by looking contents in the Instagram Anisa's. And beside that, the research use the technique of collecting data. The third point is data form. Form of the taken by Giantika in his research is observation of data by looking at the content of upload and both photo and caption comment from several followers in Instagram account at Anisas, which is will be examined carefully and truly. Besides that, it uses the techniques of collecting data, documentation of the content of the Instagram at Anisa's account, the image shown. Okay, and the next, the last point is observation. Observation made by Giantika is through social media Instagram in the Instagram account post at Anisas. Giantika's research and observe through the post and comment by followers Instagram at Anisas. in its Instagram account at Anisa's information, stories, tips, solution, and sharing in a discussion through the comments page that discuss about the development and problems of children, good household relation with husband and family, problems and tips in the household, health and good communication in family. Okay, and the next is analysis in approach to research. Grounded theory uses detailed procedures for analysis. It consists of 3 open coding, axial, and selective phase. Okay, in the Giantica research, conduct research using a grounded theory approach from the 3 theories used by researchers, namely communication, social media, and parenting. These 3 theories can be the basis for analyzing the Instagram account at Anisa's, which in injects is providing information about parenting. Okay, thank you.